I saved like $40,000.
Oh, damn, that's pretty good. You live at home, right? So like Tom Cruise, Section 8 Kareem, Section 8 Brothers, like they've gone through them before, and they had to like charge back a lot of the time, or ask for refunds or whatever the case is, because they join and it'd be nothing like what they were told.
All that, did all that, got put in touch with a realtor, got my LLC set up, basically set up everything. And where I'm at now is getting the property. I said that I had found two deals that look good and sent them to my realtor. We actually got an offer sent in earlier this week.
All right, Cooper, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Doing decent. We're going to talk about your Section 8 journey thus far. The pros, the cons, the good, the bad. And yeah, let's get right into it. So, first question really is, take me back to before you got into real estate as a whole, right? What was your financial situation look like? What's your job, etc.?
So my current job and what my job has been for the past year or a little over a year is like line work, power lines. I did a little bit of fiber optic too. I wake up pretty early. Thankfully, since I've started working, since I've graduated high school, I've had 4-day work weeks. Like we've gotten 10-hour or 4 10-hour days. So that's kind of helped me out with, having the Fridays off to focus on other stuff, have a little bit of time. It's a little hard to do some stuff during the week, but my financial situation's been pretty good. I've been saving a lot of money for, you know, ever even before I graduated. And, then once I graduated, it sped up the process of saving money. And, I've had the idea of getting into real estate and investing since high school. And now I'm finally able to comfortably do it. And that's just kind of where I'm at, just working on it. And, I've definitely come a long way from, 6 months ago.
Yeah, what's your finances look like? What do you make yearly?
So yearly, last year I made like $49,000. This year I'm estimated to make 60,000, maybe a little more. It just kind of varies on if we get sent on storm to make, the overtime extra money. But yeah, last year I made about $49,000 for my current job, and I saved like $40,000.
Oh, damn, that's pretty good. You live at home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Wow, man, that's saving what, 80% of your income? Something like that. That's pretty
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
I'm dedicated, I wanted to get into this like as fast as possible, and I still didn't get into it as fast as I wanted to, but like I also was kind of worried that I didn't have enough saved up. And I've heard some misinformation from the wrong people that you know of, and just unrealistic scenarios. Like, so now I finally just took a step back. I saved some more money, and I'm doing it the right way, just through a bank and traditional loans, all that stuff.
Yeah, gotcha. And how old are you again?
I am 20.
Yeah, so younger than me. What's your credit look like?
It is 790 right now.
Okay, and you just passed 2 years, if I remember correctly, right?
Yes, I got 2 years and I think 4 months of credit history.
Perfect. Yeah. If you were under 2 years, you probably would have needed a cosigner, but over 2 years, then you're pretty much perfect. Because, we're going to use, like you mentioned, either conventional loans or DSCR, either one. And in both scenarios, they typically require 2 years of 2 years of tax returns for conventional, but for both, they'll require 2 years of credit. So you're good on that. I mean, your financial situation's pretty damn good. You have a full-time job, credit, and also have 40K saved. I mean, that's great.
Yeah, just a little tip of advice. I opened up a credit card like pretty much the week I turned 18.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I did that was in case all were to fail with seller financing and all that stuff, like I thought would have been able to work, I would have at least started building credit.
Yeah.
So if I did, I had a backup plan. If one were to fail, I'd have another plan to do it a different way. And so that's kind of what I'm doing.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it worked. It paid off.
And we'll get into some of the seller financing stuff right now, actually, the misconceptions out there.
Yeah.
But first thing I wanted to say is, you said you were interested in real estate for quite a while. Why? What made you get into real estate?
Well, I'll tell you my story. So, in high school, I worked at this little dog kennel just to make some money so I could afford like insurance for my truck and gas for my truck and everything. And I didn't really make that much at all. Like it was like on a good week, it was probably like $150, which I also didn't get that. I just didn't get that many hours. And so, anyways, one of my friends, I used to go hang out with them. They had a really nice house. they could always go down to like a lake house and everything, and it just really inspired me to be like that one day. Like I wanted to, have nice things, and also ever since I was young, like I always had like a dream car, it's been the same ever
What is it?
since I've been. It's a lime green Lamborghini. That's my dream
Which
car.
kind? Do you have any
Uh,
like a Gallardo,
Honestly, not
Aventador?
really a specific kind, but as I've gotten older, like the SVJ is a really like
The
it's
SVJ. Ooh.
yeah, I really like it. And it's mainly just because I've seen it a lot, like the lime green color, but the color and the car brand has never changed. Now, the model of the car is, definitely something I just kind of picked up on, but that's just like an idea. Like it doesn't have to be a SVJ, but it'll be,
Yeah, the
something to
SVJs
look
are
into.
800,000 I think right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And maybe this is a little bit of inspiration for you. I am right at the level of affording like a cheaper Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Not like an SVJ. Oh man, that's
Yeah.
that's crazy. But like an older Gallardo, I could probably afford.
Yeah.
And you were in a better situation than I started out in. So, give yourself 5 to 10 years, like you'll get there. I'm pretty
Yeah.
confident of that. Especially if you keep the W-2 job, right? Do the overtime, dump all your money back into this. Like, I mean, if you're keeping, 80% of your income, right? And, you start doing burrs, for example, right? You could get 2 or 3 homes a year. I mean, 5 years later, that's, you know, 12 to 17 homes. Like, if your
Yeah.
expenses are low, you can have a Lamborghini at that point, right? A financed one. You
Yeah.
you can make it happen. So that's pretty sick. I'm actually looking at an Amira right now, a Lotus Amira.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, are you familiar with the car?
I'm familiar with the Lotus, but not the exact like mirror.
Gotcha. Yeah, the Lotus Amira, I'm like currently like actively talking to people about it right now. Like literally this is me talking to a dealer
Yeah, that's
about it
awesome.
as we speak. It's a pretty insane car, but I'm not gonna lie, it's decently cheap. Like cheaper
Yeah.
than a Lamborghini, surprisingly. Like I'm negotiating it down to like 85. It's like
Oh,
equivalent to like a
nice.
Corvette almost in terms of price.
Yeah. See, that's one thing too. Like, I like Corvettes. I like Mustangs. Like, they're cool. And, obviously when I was younger, that they were something that I thought was even cooler. But
Shiny.
I just, I just don't really like them that much anymore because I feel like just anyone can
Yeah,
finance one,
exactly.
you know?
That's the problem I have. Like when you go on TikTok and you see like an 18-year-old who just got out of high school
Yeah,
working like the manager shift at McDonald's have a Corvette, then it's like it I don't know, it devalues it quite a lot,
it
right?
does. It does.
Anyways, I'm getting off topic, but you're gonna get a Lamborghini. It will happen. It'll
Yeah.
take a while of grinding. It will, you know.
Hey, I just, what's it? What do they say? Like, is it aim for the moon, shoot for the stars, or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that?
yeah.
That
It's
that's
one of my
kind of my
favorite sayings of all time. Aim for the moon. If you miss, you'll land amongst the stars.
Yeah. See, I don't always tell everyone like my goals because they'll just be like, dude, like shut up, whatever. And it's like, dude, I'm telling you, like you don't know how bad I want this.
I'm
But
telling you, man, like even like 2 years ago, right? I was even telling like my significant other, my family, I was like, hey, like I think like real estate's picking up. Like I think I can make this into like a career. This was like right out of college, and I just got so many people that were like, you gotta play it safe and like, keep your 2005 Mitsubishi,
yeah.
and it's all worked out. I've grinded,
Yeah.
I've worked very hard to be where I'm at. And this is a great transition to the next question. But a lot of young people think real estate is only for like the older crowd, right?
Yeah.
People with tons of money, tons of experience, right? So, as someone who's about to buy their first rental at such a young age, younger than me, what changed your mindset about this? Like that, yeah, this is possible.
Honestly, like to know that it was possible was just like that I looked at people that had a lot of money and I was just like, these people worked for it. And these people didn't just hit the lottery. Not everybody came from money. And I can tell you, I was at that job when I realized that there is something I can do to make a lot of money. And yeah, I did my research and everything. back to a little bit too of my story with my friend and then like his dad, I researched what his dad was doing. Like I knew he was running a business. And so then I realized, well, he started from nothing and he built a business. And I'm like, well, how? I started asking questions. I'm like, and then I started looking up YouTube videos, how to start an excavation business, how to start this, just to get an idea. And then finally, somehow I came across real estate. And that's when I was like, that's what I need to get into. And so, to know it was possible, I was kind of misinformed by, like I said about the seller finance deal. I was like, oh my gosh, like I could graduate and get right into this, but I need to graduate first. I need to be 18. And so tried it out, whatever. So then, I just saved up some money. Like you just have to believe in yourself to really know it's possible. Like I don't really know the best way that I can put on how I realized it was possible, other than I saw that people that worked hard enough, made a bunch of money and they didn't just hit the lottery. Because I think that's the problem with the world we live in is people think that the only way to get rich is to be born into it or hit the lottery. But you can work hard, not like work hard as in at your job, your regular job, like outwork everybody. It's working smarter, but like obviously you're going to be dedicating more time to it, so it's harder working.
Yeah, there's a saying that I really like, which is if you want to have an above average amount of money, you need to do an above average amount of work.
Yeah.
That's always what I say. If you literally want to be great, you have to put in great amounts of work. That's just what it is,
Yeah.
right? Like an NFL linebacker, I'm sure just didn't go to school, go home, and start eating Cheetos and play Fortnite. Like they were
Yeah.
they were at the gym, at the football fields, grinding until 10 p.m. every single day, right? They still put in the work, even though a lot of it is talent. So
For
yeah.
sure.
So
Yeah. It's just I just and this isn't like I know that you talk about it and that I want to just state this just to say it again, but obviously this is not like a get rich overnight thing. It's
yeah,
just you just have to dedicate the time now so that you can relax in the future.
yeah.
And you will be able to do that, but like you do have to sacrifice time and I just believe it's worth it. And I'm not saying that from experience, but I just know that. And yeah, I just believe in myself, really. I mean, I've seen that it's possible with like all I had to do was graduate high school and I'm like I am free now. I can do
Hmm.
whatever I want. And that's when I'm like, it's possible. That's the best way I can put it.
Okay. So you did end up joining, my one-on-one mentorship. What would you say is the biggest advantage of it so far? And just break through kind of how far along you've gotten so far.
So I'll go ahead and start with the biggest advantage. The biggest advantage that I really like and have never gotten it before was that I can actually talk to you. Like just because we're on the phone right now doesn't mean that I'm some special person, but we have talked several times on the phone, and that whenever you get to a certain point, in your learning and like roadmap, it says like schedule call so that you can help walk through it. It's not just I'm gonna hand you a list of what to do and you're just going to text me about it. Like, I actually, if I need something, whether it says to call you or not, like I can call you. And obviously you got to schedule it, but also like I have access to texting you anytime I need, which that has benefited me a lot because during the LLC setup, I had some questions about the business account and something else that came up. I forgot what it was exactly, but I reached out to you and you got back with me probably within 20 minutes. I mean, it was pretty quick. And then, I've obviously reached out before and it was even faster than that. And that's definitely the biggest advantage. And I mean, it's one-on-one mentorship. That's exactly, what it is. And I just wanted to give you credit for that, that I really appreciate that you actually stick to your word on you know the name of it. It's one-on-one
Yeah.
mentorship, and
Yeah, I mean, I do my absolute best to get back to everybody as quick as possible. It's the reason also why I don't just accept every single person, who just says, "Hey, I want to join. Here's my money." We actually
yeah,
do pre-qualify everybody, right? Like if you, for
yeah,
example, had 10K, I would have said no. I would have been like, "Yeah, we can't help you."
yeah,
Whereas, a lot of other people in the same space probably would have said, "Join immediately. We'll finance your payment over 5 years
exactly,
through
yeah.
Klarna." So,
That's also one thing too. Other than I mean, that is definitely the biggest advantage is that I can reach out anytime I need. And other than that, like helping me get approved, I mean, you did that within the span of a weekend. Like you said something on Friday, like, hey, we'll try and get you approved Monday. And then immediately Monday, you was like, hey, I need your LLC name again. And then immediately just send me the pre-approval letter. And then also like you, like it came to the point where it's like, hey, well, this is what you would do. You would need to look for realtors. And you're like, hey, I'm going to put you in touch with this realtor. So there's a lot of advantages that key advantage, like really important advantages. And those are it.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for the kind words. I wouldn't even say they're fluffing you up. I mean, you're saying exactly what happened. So,
Yeah.
okay, so what did your friends and family think about you getting into real estate? Did they, doubt this? Be like, "Oh, Section 8 heard terrible things." Like, what do they think about this?
I'm really glad you had that or asked that question because I was gonna mention it earlier. So my dad is more, which I love my dad to death, but I just don't live at his house because, I've seen a lot of small things growing up that he has like said, and like I said, it's not horrible, but it's just enough to get in your head. And he's a really nice guy. Like if you met him, you'd never see it. But he completely was like, dude, I want you to stick to doing this, just straight up doubting me. And he didn't even really hide that he was doubting me. Like I told him my ideas in school and he was just like, I told him how far I wanted to go. Like when I first started getting these ideas, I was like, I want to go far. Like I want to, I want to have so many. Like I want to go far. Like I want to have like so many houses, and I want to do this. I want to do this. And he's like, dude, that's just too much. Like it ain't gonna happen. Like it's just too much. It's too much stress. And I was like, dude, like I'm willing to do it. Like, that's what I want to do. And so, anyways, besides from him, he doubted me. My mom has been my biggest supporter, like biggest. She's just like, do what you like basically like whatever your heart feels like doing. And she said, like, I believe in you. And as a matter of fact, I'll show you this really quick. She, I don't know if it's gonna be inverted or not. She gave me this. It says,
I can see it. Yeah, I can see it.
can you read
Everything
it?
you want is on the other side of fear.
Yeah, so that was one thing that I keep right by my desk. She fully believes in me and she doesn't just like she helps me with what she thinks. She doesn't just like tell me like, "Oh yeah, you can do it," like whatever. Like yeah, she does believe in me, but she also like helps me whenever I talk to her about certain things like, "Hey, well, have you heard of this?" or she tries to see if I, have heard of other options for certain things. Like for example, like I'm not saying that this is an exact example, but like a financing option, there's a lot of them.
Hmm.
So maybe she could have been like, "Hey, well, have you heard of this instead? Like, have you researched it or whatever?" Like she tries to help me when she can, and she fully believes in me. She's like, "Do what you want to do, like don't listen to anyone else and all that."
Hey, that's fantastic. A lot of people don't have too much support in their lives to go through that. I thankfully I'm at a point in my life where, I have immigrant parents who barely speak English. So, I've been helping them all my life thus far. So
Yeah,
now, we're kind of at a point where it's like, "Oh, you want to do this? Have you done your research?" And I go, "Yep." And they go, "All right, have fun, go for it." And it's just like,
that's
okay,
funny.
it's nice.
Yeah,
Also, it was very helpful, especially getting into Section 8 for the first time, because I helped them get, regular rentals, right? Which we still actually own here in Virginia. And then, eventually I was like, hey, interest rates are now 7%. Like, we're not cash flowing if we want to try to buy some more. And, I pitched them the idea of Section 8. And, after I explained it, they straight up told me, they're like, we don't fully understand this, but if you want to do it, then do it. Here's some of our investment money. Like, just go try it out. I lost a lot of money. The first one, I lost a lot of
yeah,
money on the first one. But the second one, I got such a good ROI, like 20 something percent, that it became a standard, right? I was like, I know
yeah,
what I'm doing now. And
yeah.
I just kept going and going with it with my own rentals as well. So it was a very big learning curve and also part of why the mentorship exists because I fully believe, you can make 50K of mistakes if you don't have proper
Yeah.
mentorship. So yeah, anyways, so you specifically decided to buy turnkey, rentals in the Midwest, right?
Yes.
Why specifically the Section 8 strategy?
Honestly, it has really like stuck out to me that it is guaranteed rent. I've talked to a lot of people, like I mean, I really tried to find someone to help me like for a long time, and I've talked to realtors, I've tried to talk to investors, and even my aunt, she didn't buy these properties, but her mom did, and she inherited them, but she was always telling me like don't buy residential, like tenants are such a nightmare. And I'm like, well, look, I can't just get right into commercial. Like, I got to start somewhere.
Hmm.
Like, she got given a commercial property and she was telling me about how good the lease is. Like, tenant pays for everything. I'm pretty sure it's called a triple net lease, I
Yes.
think.
Yeah, you're
And
right.
so my long run goal is to get into commercial, if I actually end up doing it and liking it. But for money wise, commercial is the end goal. But I have to start somewhere. And, you know, the guaranteed rents, that has really stuck out to me. That takes off a major thing about tenants being bad. And then the higher rents also is what stuck out to me, like higher than average rents. That's really what stuck out to me the best.
Gotcha. I mean,
And
that's
also,
mhm.
well, along with the higher rents, finding a cheaper property that rents for higher,
Yeah.
obviously.
You need the ratio,
Yeah,
right? You need to make it make sense. Otherwise, we go for penthouses. So,
exactly.
okay. What would you say is the biggest misconception that you think about Section 8 thus? I know that, you haven't closed on a home yet, but what was the limiting belief that you previously thought, like maybe a misconception, a myth that, has since been cleared up?
Just about getting into deals or just like overall like
Anything.
owning.
Anything. Yeah.
Honestly, I would say that the biggest misconception is about how much money you could need to get into a property. And you know, this is what I believe, that when someone tells you you can get into these properties with $5,000 down, sure, you might have been able to at some point, but you really can't now. I mean, unless you have a lot of experience and you have a lot of connections that will send you these deals and be like, "Hey, this is what we can do," or whatever. But like starting out, you're not going to buy your first property with $5,000. I mean, unless I don't know. There's that. And then the other misconception, I believe, that's probably the only thing I can really think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think it's also because, there's so many like just crappy people in the space, right? That are saying these things, right? You can get a home for 5K down, 10K down. And it's just to get more clients. That's really the only reason. It's just to get
100%.
more people to join their,
Yeah.
course, mentorship, whatever it is, right? I don't have a problem with courses or mentorship. I have no problem at all. Obviously, I have my own mentorship. Even if I was selling a PDF, I wouldn't have a problem with it. The problem I have is when you essentially false advertise in order to get,
Yeah.
deals across the finish line. That's what I have a problem with. So I see tons of people in the space, right? In fact, some of our other students, right? Maybe on the group calls you can ask about this that we have. Some of them are former students of like Tom Cruise, Section 8 Kareem, Section 8 Brother. Like they've gone through them before and they had to like charge back a lot of the time or, ask for refunds or whatever the case is because they join and it would be nothing like what they were told. So I think that is probably the biggest myth, right? People talk about doing seller financing,
Yeah.
people talk about subject to and stuff like that, right? And these work in theory, like they are real things that can work.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like you said, for the average beginner to pull it off, probably
Yeah.
not. It probably makes more sense to go work at McDonald's to save up the extra money instead of, spending the 100 hours finding the deal.
Yeah.
So,
Like that is obviously, but yeah, it's possible to do this stuff. It's not a fake thing. It's just unrealistic for your
yes.
first time.
Yeah,
And I will
absolutely.
admit, I am a previous student of Tom Cruise, and
Exactly.
it's not, and that's why I say it, and that's why I was kind of skeptical about, joining for a minute, because I'm like, well, that's some of the questions I asked. I'm like, am I going to get to talk to Joseph?
Hmm.
And he's like, yeah. He's like, a matter of fact, like, right as you get set up, that's the first thing you do is getting a call of Joseph to talk. And
Yeah.
so, Tom Cruise does not call his students, other than a weekly webinar, and he goes over the same thing like on a
Those
weekly
are
basis.
pre-recorded. I don't know if you knew that. Those aren't
That
live.
doesn't surprise me. But, it's just it's so like messed up to just like, well, if I text Tom or whatever and he doesn't respond, for hours. And it's like, dude, I need you right now. Like, I need to know right now. And one thing that might expose, I don't know if it's true or not, but, he puts you in touch with like a Facebook page of the area that they're buying in. And at the time, it was Illinois. And so it's a bunch of properties that are seller financed. Like, every
Okay.
week they drop like five or six. And so, the thing is though, with as many students as he has, he's luring them all over here. And so you reach out, he tells you what to do. He's like, hey, you need to, text the person on the Facebook page, ask them for the Dropbox code, and then you need to get in touch with somebody on Thumbtack or whatever. And he's like, don't use these people. He's like, I've got a list of people not to use, and we got a list of some recommended, but you can still find someone else, but just don't use these people. They'll overcharge you. So you reach out, like, hey, can you go, you know, check out this property for me? And so they go check it out. And they're like, yeah, it's good. Well, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to message the buyer. It's like, hey, I'm ready to, you know, look into this house. And then he's like, well, if they don't respond, you kind of have to like harass them. Like, you need to send more, like, follow up. And so I followed up, like, hey, I'm ready. Like, couldn't remember my exact words. It wasn't anything bad, but just following up. And then finally they get back, hey, this house already sold. And it's like, wow. So, and that happened. So I tried it once and I was pretty upset. And then so the next week I started earlier, like right Monday. I was like, hey, looking at this property, finally got back to me, send a contractor out there, hey, I'm ready. Hey, this house sold. So so I'm like, these people are probably just like, hey, let's buy this house. We're not even going to send somebody out there. Or they just were living out there, checked it out immediately and was like, hey, let's buy it. And so I'm like, well, this is just throwing my money in the trash can. So that's why I backed away from it. I'm like, yeah, I literally can't touch these properties. I can't compete. And so then I talked to a contractor from there and he threw out this conspiracy and he might have known if it was true or not, but he said, look, he's like, these houses, you know, these people are buying them for like way cheaper than what they have them listed for. He's like, and then they're using Tom Cruise to sell them and, throw this attention to these properties and they're upping the price like probably double
Oh,
to
that's
what
not
they're.
that's not a conspiracy. That's how it works. They're just
Okay.
wholesalers. Yeah, that's actually how it works. There's no conspiracy there. It's an
Yeah.
entire like business strategy. Yeah,
Okay.
it's there's two things that happen, which is, a wholesaler gets under contract for, let's say, 50K, and then they partner with Tom and say, "Hey Tom, can you
Hmm.
sell this to your team for 70? Like, let's list it on Facebook for 70, and then, I'll throw you 2K for your time, right?" So it works that way, which I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing because they're at the end of the day bringing you a deal that you wouldn't have had otherwise. But
Yeah.
it's the other part, which is also like they could be Tom's homes, like, or anyone's, right? This part is a little bit of a conspiracy, right? Where it's I feel like sometimes it's just like the duds of the guru's portfolio that they're just offloading to their own students. Like I feel like
Yeah.
that sometimes is happening, where it's like the worst performers of Tom Cruise's, Section 8 Kareem's, and it just gets put onto, the Facebook, and they're like, this one didn't work out. Let me offload it to a random student real quick.
Yeah.
Um,
I didn't, it really opened my eye up when that guy told me that. And I was like, dude, that kind of sounds messed up. But like, obviously, wholesaling is, it's whatever. But like, it's messed up the way he's putting it out there and drawing the attention to. It's smart, but it's like I don't know. I don't really know what I could really say about it. Like, it's smart, but it's just kind of sketch. And it's just it is what it is.
I also don't like the fact that, like, what's the point in accepting like more students if they literally can't close? Like, that
Yeah,
just leaves that's, if anything, just how does that benefit you in any way, shape, or form? You're just gonna get bad reviews and chargebacks, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
part sucks.
It sucks. It's a loss.
Cooper, why don't you tell me how far along in the process you are right now? Like, where did
Yes.
you, what did you get done so far, and what are you doing right now?
Yes. So what I've gotten done so far is obviously I've studied how to analyze the markets and run the numbers, the comps, check crime, all that stuff. And I've analyzed the deals, the first five deals that I was looking at. Basically just pick out, some deals that you think look good, run the numbers, all that. Did all that, got put in touch with a realtor, got my LLC set up, And
Approval as well.
now, say again.
Yeah, the pre-approval as well.
Yes, the pre-approval, glad you said that. And set up like the business bank account, basically set up everything. And where I'm at now is getting the property. And so I'll walk you through a little bit of what I've done. So the past week, I reached out about a property. We were looking at it and everything, and we just didn't think that the numbers fully made sense, which I showed it to you. I had a few, rental comps and everything. I thought it could rent out for a certain price. And then the realtor said, well, this house is previously rented out for like $830. And it was a really small house. And so I was like, well, my realtor was like, I don't really have the best feeling about it. And, wanted to kind of find something a little bit, better looking.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, well, we can move on. And so this past week, I mean, Monday, I was stressing. I'm looking for deals and running numbers. I mean, like on my lunch, whenever we've got free time, like everything. I said that I had found two deals that looked good and sent them to my realtor. I thought, they were right next to an elementary school, both of them. So I was like, okay, probably a pretty decent location, check crime, everything. Ran some numbers and I was like, hey, what do you think about these properties? So we narrowed it down to obviously one for now. And we actually got an offer sent in earlier this week. And she got back to me this morning and said, hey, which I don't remember what day we got the offer in. I think it was Wednesday night or Thursday morning. But she reached out to me this morning and was like, hey, I'm in touch with the realtor. They have two other offers. She was like, do you want to come up on your offer a little bit?
Okay, you said they countered and said, "Do you want to come up on the offer?"
Yeah, she said that there was two other offers in, and my realtor was like, hey, do you want to come up on the offer a little bit? And I said, yeah, it probably wouldn't hurt to come up just a little bit. Because, my goal for this property is it's very turnkey and I want to get a little bit down if we can, because they also had a price drop recently.
Mhm.
So, it's pretty like, the money's pretty tight right there on what they can lose, I believe. So we're gonna try and send in another offer for a little bit higher to see what happens with it. And that's where I'm at right now.
Okay, what's this new offer price that you're gonna do?
So they have the house listed at 100 grand. They had an $11,000 price drop, and the offer that we sent in was a 92,000 with our concessions, like the have to look at what it's called, the 2%
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and the buyers. Is it the realtor's compensation? Is that
Yes.
what it is? Yeah. So she said, at first I said, well, I'd like to come down a little low just so we can try and counter it because I
Yeah.
want to get some off of it. And I said, so how about 90,000? She's like, well, look at it like this with the compensations you want, coming down to 90, we're basically going to be off from 85. And it looks like it was a flipped property, like they fixed it up, like it was
Yeah.
run down. And so she was like, that's going to take away from their bottom dollar. So like a better deal would be 92,000 with the compensation. And I was like, okay, well, let's do that. And so now I told her that we can probably try and come up closer to 95.
95. Okay. Send the numbers to me, right, before you make
I
that
will.
offer, just so that I can review it with you. Happy to look it over. 95 is like nearing the border of what we find like profitable. So, something
Okay.
that's very important is, you don't want to chase a deal purely just based on like that cost fallacy, right? Where it's like,
Yeah,
I don't want to have to hunt for another deal, right? I'm gonna, overbid. I'm not saying this one's overbidding, but that's just a mindset that a lot of people fall into, and we just want to avoid that. So yeah, send me the
for
offer
sure.
before you officially turn it in, and I'll review it for you. The last question really is, would you recommend the mentorship, and where do you see yourself in 12 months?
100% I recommend the mentorship if you, believe that you need like guidance. This is the proper guidance. I have some stuff wrote down that I wanted to tell you,
Yeah,
and
yeah, go
obviously
for it.
that I would like for other people to know. So Joseph, he does not lie. He tells you the numbers. He doesn't tell you unrealistic terms. And, whenever he says it's a one-on-one mentorship, it is. If you need to talk to him, you can schedule a call, you can message him. And he's also, he's got his Discord that other people can help you out if they need to. Like if you've got a question, there's you like one time I asked a question and it got answered immediately, like literally right after I sent it. And that was just because somebody was in the Discord. And, obviously Joseph will get on there and talk to. And, Joseph is really reliable. That's what I've come, to find. The roadmap that he has for you that he sets out. I wanted to let you know this. It is very detailed and a great step by step. It is, it's been so easy for me to follow, get stuff done, you know, but the only thing I will say, and this obviously goes for anyone, is that this doesn't come to you. You have to put in the work.
Yeah.
If you dedicate some of your time to it, it'll work out. But obviously, nothing in life will just come to you. So you have to have the mindset. And really, that's about it. I've had a bad experience before, and this one has, it's turned completely around. So
Well, thank you very much for the kind words, Cooper. We're gonna get you some more homes, and maybe eventually go into Burrs. And I just want to say
yes,
thank you for your time today. And please send me that offer so I can review it.
I will. I will.